Have you ever stopped to think about what's really running things behind the scenes in business today? It's not just servers in a rack or the software on your screen anymore. There's this new kind of engine humming along, an invisible workforce that is, and I'm not exaggerating, changing everything. So let's pull back the curtain and take a look at the wild world of autonomous microagents. Just let that sink in for a second. Imagine a worker that is always on, never makes a mistake, and just goes. It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But this isn't sci-fi. This is the new reality of a digital workforce that's quietly becoming the backbone of modern operations. Okay, so what is an autonomous microagent? Well, think of it like this. It's a tiny, super specialized digital employee. Its whole job is to do one thing really, really well, like pulling data from a report, or updating a client record, or sending out a specific kind of email. And this is the key part. It does it on its own, with enough intelligence to make small decisions and adapt when things don't go exactly as planned. That's a huge leap from old-school automation. All right, so now we have a feel for what they are. Let's get to the real heart of it. Why are these little agents suddenly the new engine driving business forward? Well, it really comes down to three game-changing objectives. It's really like a triple threat. First, you've got radical efficiency. I'm talking about wiping out all those boring, repetitive digital chores that just drain our time and energy. Second, the cost savings are, well, they're absolutely massive. And third, and this is the really cool part, they have what's called adaptive intelligence. This means they don't just follow a rigid script. They actually understand the goal, the intent behind the task, which lets them figure things out when the unexpected happens. And to really get a sense of the economics here, you just have to look at the numbers. It's a fundamental shift. On one side, you have the traditional cost of human labor. On the other, the almost laughably low cost of AI compute. We're literally moving from a world of dollars per hour to pennies per task. It's a whole new ballgame. And this chart, this just brings it all home. Look at that difference. A workflow that might cost a company, say, $4,000 a month to do manually, plummets to just $250 when you hand it over to a team of agents. And that's not just saving a few dollars. That's freeing up serious capital that you can now pour back into growing the business, into new ideas, and into your people. Let's zoom in even further. The cost for one of these agents to do a single specific task, like, format a file or update a single entry in a database, is often less than 2 cents. 2. When you start multiplying that by thousands or even millions of tasks a day, you start to see just how big this is. So, okay, the benefits are huge. We get that. But how does this stuff actually work? It sounds kind of like magic, but when you break it down, the way these agents think is actually pretty logical. Let's walk through it. It's basically a 5-step loop. Step 1, something happens that wakes the agent up. A new email lands, a file gets uploaded. Step 2, it breaks down the big job into tiny, bite-sized steps. Step 3, it gets to work, using all the digital tools it has access to. Now, step 4 is where the magic happens. It learns. It remembers what worked before and what didn't, so it gets smarter over time. And finally, step 5, it can self-heal. If a step fails, it'll try again or try a different way to make sure the job actually gets done. And you know what the best part is? This isn't just for giant corporations. The power here is totally scalable. You can start messing around with this, building a prototype, for less than the price of a few coffees a month. And even at the enterprise level, you could be running an entire army of these agents for less than the cost of hiring one single analyst. The barrier to entry is just gone. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. If you've ever worked with automation before, you know it can be, well, a huge pain. It's brittle, it breaks, it's frustrating. So let's tackle those common headaches right now and see how these micro agents are different. This is the classic problem, right? A developer moves a button on a web page by 10 pixels, and your entire automation script just dies. It's infuriating. Well, here's the solution. Because these agents understand the goal, they can adapt. They don't care where the button is. They just know they need to find the button that says submit. And if that button is now called confirm, they can usually figure that out too. They're designed to be resilient, not rigid. Okay, this is a big one. It's a trust issue. How can you hand over important work to some invisible robot you can't even see? It feels a little scary. The answer is all about control and oversight. These systems come with dashboards where you can see exactly what your agents are doing in real time. You can even run them in what's called shadow mode, where they just watch and tell you what they would do, so you can check their work before you let them off the leash. And for really critical stuff, you can build in a step where a human has to give the final okay. You are always, always in the driver's seat. And now for the question that keeps every business leader up at night. Is it secure? Can I really trust these things with my company's sensitive data? 100%. Security isn't an afterthought here. It's baked in from the very beginning. These agents live in their own little secure digital boxes, so they can't wander off and access things they shouldn't. All the data is encrypted, meaning it's completely scrambled and unreadable to outsiders. And they operate on a zero-trust principle, which is a fancy way of saying they have to prove who they are and what they're allowed to do for every single action they take. Okay, so we've covered the what, the why, and the how. For this last part, let's just zoom out and reframe this whole thing. We're not just talking about a new tool. We're talking about a new kind of teammate. This right here. This is probably the single most important idea to take away from all of this. The goal of this technology isn't about replacing people. It's about making people more powerful, more creative, and more focused on the work that actually requires a human brain. Just think about all the digital grunt work we have to do every day. Copying and pasting between spreadsheets, formatting reports, chasing down some piece of information. That's friction. And microagents are designed to do one thing: eliminate that friction. They take care of the boring stuff so we can focus on the interesting stuff. And that leads to this incredible force multiplier effect. What that means is one single person, teamed up with, say, 20 of these microagents, can produce the output of a whole team. They're not a replacement for that person. They're like an extension of that person's mind and ability to get things done. So, I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. Seriously, imagine it. What if you had a team of these tireless, super smart digital helpers at your beck and call? What boring tasks could you get rid of forever? What new ideas could you finally go after? How would that change the way you and your entire business work? The invisible workforce is here, and it is ready to go.